I'm going to really encourage you to take a big picture helicopter view of whole school data. So your opinion data, your performance data overall. And I would encourage you to go micro, i.e. close up at the classroom level with your data. So I think in the past we've gone a little bit micro with some of our whole school data. You know, we've tried to look at, well, I wonder which staff member said that. We might have gone a little bit sort of into the detail on particular items and particular aspects of the survey. What I'm encouraging you to do is to take a helicopter view of whole school data to look for patterns, and get your microscope and energy into looking at data at the classroom student level, and spend most of your time at helping with that. So that's just trying to sort of get a bit of a balance. And in both cases, again, we're encouraging an inquiry approach. So there's no shortage of data. You know, this is just a snapshot of the system level data, let alone the local level information that you have. And so in many ways, you're awash with data. So many of our other jurisdictions are quite envious with the amount of rich information that we have in our schools. However, the challenge is how we're getting that into the hands of the classroom teacher. And so that's really what we're trying to push forward in this work collectively. Now, what I'm actually going to propose, however, is that you're taking a kind of overview of all of that. So if I take you back, you're trying to provide a summary overview of your school data. And as leadership teams, I reckon you should be able to write in a paragraph and say in a few sentences, what's the performance story of your school? And you should be able to say that really clearly. And again, it's about the sort of message about where we are now. What's the performance story? And that's your kind of leadership mantra. And I'll talk a bit about what I mean by that in a sec. So you've got lots of questions that you can ask. You know, what's the entry level of our students? How many students are above or below expected levels? What happens as students progress through this school? What are our enrolment trends at the year levels? What are our attendance patterns? Which kids are not attending? Which kids are? What's our staff opinion? What's our patterns of staff leave? What's our student and parent? And they're just some of the questions. And if you're a secondary school, you know, it might be what's our pattern of enrolment in VCE studies, in VCAL, in VET? Where do our students go to? Are we providing the right sort of pathways for the destinations that our students need and choose? So the leadership challenge, I think, here is to use your school level report and analysis and create the performance story for your school. And how will you communicate that? And this is the practice that you're wanting to replicate throughout the school. So in a way, you want each teacher to be able to tell the performance story of the class that they have. So when you have a conversation with that teacher, they're able to articulate quite clearly, well, in this class, I have, you know, X number of kids being able to achieve this. I'm having difficulty with A and B because they are below the expected level in something. I've looked at their area and their area seems to be blah. So you're trying to mirror, if you like, the sort of practice that you're wanting from your teachers. So what would a performance story, if I was to lift to a state level, what would I say the performance story of Victoria is? I'll have a go. The performance story of Victoria is that at year 3, our children are pretty much above the national average in literacy and numeracy. We seem to be performing extremely well in the early years. However, we do have a small percentage below the minimum standard, and we think that's unacceptable, and we're wanting to lift all Year 3 students above the minimum standard. What happens as children progress through school and we get to, say, Year 9, and we compare Victoria to other jurisdictions, we have fewer children in the top bands of our assessment in Year 9 than other jurisdictions like us. So, for example, New South Wales has a much higher proportion of students in the top bands at Year 9 than we do.